Good morning everyone, Ray from loveyourrv.com coming to you from the Arizona desert on a very wet morning. Had another good rainstorm roll through last night. It poured. It's been quite a wet year this year. So I thought this would be a good time to go in the RV and tell you about how we keep connected to the internet and some of the ways we get on the internet, the devices we use and the carriers we use, especially as snowbirds from Canada, a little bit different than being in the same country all the time and being able to use a plan. Is that snow on that mountain over there? It's a little chilly this morning, and they expect the temperature to only go up to low 50s, which is like 11-12 Celsius. Usually it should be about 20 Celsius or you know, around 70 degrees this time of year. We're in early February, so it should be warming up. But another little cool rainy front has gone through, which is good here. It helps with drought conditions, and the desert's really starting to look green and lush. It's here, I'm right near Tucson, and took some pictures the other night, and they're just gorgeous. Okay, so here's the mishmash of devices that make up our communication options. So I have actually 3 different ways to make a phone call, 2 different ways to text, and 4 different ways to connect to the internet. So at the heart of the system is this Verizon MiFi. We've had this going on 6 years now, so it's an older one. In the most years we've basically bought a package per gigabyte on a 30-day pay-as-you-go plan. Basically we have no long-term plans for any of our devices. We prefer just to pay month to month, and that's the same in Canada and the US. Because we spend 6 months in one country and 6 months in another, it's not worth us getting a plan and have the headache of putting it on vacation mode or maybe being charged while we're not in the country. So also things with technology are changing so fast. It's nice to go month to month. We can take advantage of new things that crop up. For instance, this thing now, just this year, they've started offering a monthly unlimited data plan on it. It goes for $65 a month, or $70 if you don't want to have the auto top-up enabled. So we're paying $70 a month on this, and we get unlimited data. And I'll talk about it further in the video, but and give you an idea how it's performed for us. So that's basically our main internet. Verizon has really good coverage in the Southwest, and it works almost everywhere. The other main thing for our main phone, I use this, it's an unlocked smartphone I bought a couple years ago, and I buy a package from a company called Roam Mobility in Canada that gives me unlimited talk and text and 4 gigabytes of LTE data a month, plus after that runs out it's unlimited slow, I think it's 2G data. And so that's really convenient because I have free long distance calling and texting back to Canada. And that plan goes for $49.95 Canadian dollars, so I don't know, somewhere just under $40 US dollars. So I buy that in a 3-month term, and all I had to do is buy a little SIM card for it, and I can activate it online. Then when I go back to Canada for the 6 months, I take another SIM card. There's a company called TELUS, and I just switch SIMs and I can use it there. So this has, when I'm in US on the Roam Mobility SIM, I have a US phone number, and as long as I keep using that SIM, every year I come back I get the same number, which is quite handy. You know, if I can give it to friends that are in the US, they know I'm in the US, they can get a hold of me. And then we also picked up this cheap, it's called a Tracfone, available at pretty well the Walmarts, and it was only, this actually cheap smartphone was only $29.95 for a smartphone. It's just a cheap Android phone. But we wanted something we could communicate when we're apart, like say I go out for groceries or something, or Anne's out on a photo shoot. We can at least talk to each other and text back and forth to each other. So, and it's also another option for connecting, because this is on T-Mobile network, which if people have ever gone into rural areas, a lot of times T-Mobile, there is no contact in a lot of the rural areas. We were down in Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument, and it got no connection at all. It was completely useless. But this one, I think Tracfone is maybe on the AT&T network, or it roams from different networks, but it actually works, so that's kind of nice too. But that way we can talk to each other. And then we get a cheap plan for this. I think it's around $29.95. Maybe I'll go do some screen captures of the different pricing of these devices. And then, so that's our two phones and our main data. This has some data. We also buy a bit of data for this. So we have a bunch of different networks. And then on the roof, I've got, of course, that Winegard Wi-Fi booster that I installed in the summer, but it also has the capability of connecting to a 4G network. So I can buy a plan for it as well, and I think it runs on AT&T as well. So that's another option. And then as a final phone option, I go and I buy myself a Skype number. I've had the same Skype number. I pay them quarterly. It's about $15, and then that's a permanent number. And then I can always take that, I can give that people my Skype number, and they can always get a hold of me, because I can forward the Skype number to different numbers. When I'm in the US, I can forward it to this. When I'm back in Canada, I can forward it to my Canadian number. So anyway, let's go online. I'll show you the different plans and options they have. Okay, we'll start with the Roam Mobility. This is going to be of interest to my Canadian viewers. It's a Canadian company. I believe they're kind of a reseller of T-Mobile service in the States. Anyway, we pick up this Snowbird talk and text and data plan. There's the $49.95 a month. You have to buy their SIM card first. It's $9.95, and load it onto a unlocked phone. And once you load it on and purchase their plan, as soon as you enter the U.S. and you're in a T-Mobile coverage area, your phone will work. You get nationwide talk, unlimited, global text, unlimited. Then the data you get right here, 4 gigabytes of 4G LTE plus unlimited 2G data. So when your 4G data runs out, then it just automatically switches. It works, but it's dead slow. Good enough to maybe see your email or whatever, maybe look at a map or something, but not going to be able to do too much with it. Also, it's a 90-day term, so we buy 90 days, and that gives me 12 gigabytes of data in that time to use on that phone. Then usually when it runs out, I just top up for the next 90 days. Unlimited picture and video messaging, long distance calls to Canada. That was the big thing for us. So, we sit there and yak to our relatives back home all we want. Voicemail, call waiting, and caller ID. So that's been a good one. I've been using it every year. Every season I kind of go through all the options. I know there's 1,000,001 options out there. People use all sorts of different ones. I'm just sort of showing you the ones we've evolved into using over the years. Let's see, next is the Tracfone. That was our spare kind of emergency phone, and the one that we buy so we can talk to each other. And we bought, like I say, that was $29.95 for the phone. It's a really cheapy phone. And then what we do with it is we like the $19.99 card we use to top up its minutes. It gives us 60 minutes. We don't really need to use very many minutes on that phone, and it's got a 90 service days on it, so we end up having to spend $19.99 twice during our snowbird season. We'll also usually buy this $10 for 1 gigabyte of data, just in an emergency if we need to use maps or something. The data is there, and that data is good as long as our service days are active. Next is the Winegard Connect. That's the the one I have on the roof, though, it's the Wi-Fi booster that also does 4G data, and we can choose from different plans for that. It's a month-to-month plan, and you can see the best value is to get 10 gigabytes for $65. But there is other different options down here, all the way down to 20 gigabytes for $150. Ever since Verizon's offered this new unlimited plan, I haven't really had to use this one much. But there has been a few locations where Verizon was terrible, usually due to congestion of the towers. And this one being on, I think it's AT&T, I'm not 100% sure, but it actually in some places had coverage where Verizon didn't, or had much better connection and throughput of data than the Verizon did. So I have sometimes purchased this plan, and it's worked very well. It's had pretty good coverage. You can see the map down here. That kind of looks like an AT&T map to me. And then what do we got next is Skype calling. So I have a Skype number that I pay for. It's total about $60 a year to maintain that number that I can give to people, and if they call that Skype number, I get voicemail on it, and also I can call forward it to any of my other cell devices. Also, I can use this to call through Skype. So say there's a problem where we have a data connection, but we don't have any of our phones working, we can get onto this Skype, and then I can call out. I usually just put on, you can add on to the Skype credit here, and basically even long distance is only pennies a minute, so it lasts a long time. But that's just sort of a way we can call out if we don't have an active working cell phone. And finally, let's go to our Verizon here. There we go. This is the tablet or Jetpack plan. So we have the old MiFi, Verizon, they call them the Jetpacks, and that's the one where we're using this new unlimited plan. So you can see unlimited data for $65 a month, high quality streaming. So you get 720p streaming on 1080p on tablets and 720p on other devices. So we've been using that to watch Netflix and YouTube and Amazon Prime on our smart TV, on our both our big desktop computers. So that's been really nice. Before we were downloading shows to watch because we were paying per gigabyte, so we didn't want to stream at all. But this season, because of this plan, we've been able to stream a lot of TV shows and things like that. So that's been awesome. To get that as a Canadian, it was kind of a lot of hoops to go through. We ended up, because we don't have a zip code, we can't really apply for things online. So we had to go into a store, and then they had to phone the mothership and try to sort us out to get our account activated, just because, you know, we didn't have a zip code. We had a postal code. But we ended up getting a rep to do it at one of their stores, and somehow they figured out a way. So now we have this online account here, and basically we just add funds to our balance up here. And to add funds, I use the cards you can buy in the grocery stores or Walmart or whatever. And so I'll buy enough money in cards and put it on our balance. So then when we need to buy the next plan, we just go purchase with the balance. So, you know, there you see current plan, $70 a plan with unlimited data. So that works out once we got it set up. And as far as how it's worked, a lot of people have been interested because this is a brand new plan. It's only been out, I don't know how many months, but I think it was pretty new when we started out in the fall. And basically, we've been able to have pretty good connections and stream our TV shows and YouTube, that type of thing, pretty well everywhere we've gone, except near kind of major cities or very populated areas. And I think what happens is with this new unlimited plan on the Jetpacks here, you get you're the lowest on the totem pole as far as access to the cell tower. So if it gets a lot of users on it, you get bumped down. and suddenly you won't get near the speed. And that's happened to us, let's see, Florence, Oregon. We were at a casino, and as a lot of people came to the casino, I guess a lot were on their phones and they saturated the tower. And it would vary from time of day whether we would have decent speeds or not. The other one I noticed was Lost Dutchman State Park near Phoenix. That's a known bad spot for cell coverage, and its Verizon was very saturated. We didn't get to stream too much there. And the other one, funny enough, in Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument, way out of the way, it was actually pretty good connections there. Any other bad ones? No, not too much. We're actually near Tucson. We're getting good coverage there. We've been watching shows. So you can see there's all the stops we've been at this year, up to 20 different stops, and only 2 or 3 where we've had problems with that plan. Of course, time of day, sometimes in the morning I'll notice it'll get a little sluggish, or around supper time, and that's probably when people get on their cell phones and use it a lot. But for the most part, thumbs up. It's been a really good thing to have this year. Well, there you go. There's a look at the way we stay connected by phone and internet when we're enjoying our snowbird adventures down south. If anybody has any advice or suggestions about connecting on the road when you're out snowbirding, I know there's a lot of Canadian viewers that are always interested in what the options are in. I'm always getting emailed about how we do it and what sort of services we're using. And like I say, it's a fast changing industry. Everything's always changing. Seems every few months there's a new plan or something's changed in it. So any advice is always appreciated in the comments. Thanks very much. Until next time, Ray from loveyourrv.com. Looks like the rain's clearing up. Maybe we'll get the sun back and get some more of that lovely desert warmth. Cheers, everyone.